You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network.
I'm Katrina, and I love anime.
I'm Steven, and I'm aware of anime.
But what if that affection could rub off?
Perhaps that excitement in her eyes got me curious.
I could offer up some solid anime.
I could give them a watch, just to see what all the fuss is about.
And maybe, just maybe,
I could learn to love anime too.
welcome to Inspired by a Weeaboo. Hello everyone and welcome back to Inspired by a Weeaboo. I am your host Katrina and with me is my husband Steven.
Hello.
We just finished episode 33 of Fullmetal Alchemist. Steven, what did you think?
More chess pieces are being played. And then we got a little progression, but I felt like it was more setting up some other stuff in the story from where, at least where I'm sitting. So, first of all, the episode worked, so that's a plus, unlike last week. So where we left off is Al was getting confronted by Greed's crew while Ed was getting, or had the hell beat out of him outside. So Al is in the middle of his fight, and one of the crew knocks his helmet off, and then this other one crawls inside of his armor to kind of hold him down, or kind of keep him from fighting.
Yeah.
Almost to kind of manipulate him, but you're not quite manipulating him, just kind of...
slowing him down.
Yeah, kind of holding his arms and legs, if you will. Just keep making it difficult for him to move. Which then in turn gets him captured because he can't fight like he was. So the crew wrap him up, take him off, and Greed, on his way out the door, decides that he's going to, do something to Ed because obviously he's still going to be a threat.
Mm-hmm.
But before he does anything, you see that he's staring off back at the house, and Dante is giving him a glare.
Mm-hmm.
So that raised a big eyebrow for me, because that glare just caused him to say the hell with it, and he left. So Ed, in turn, just decides to go in search of Al, trying to figure out where they went. And Izumi takes it upon herself to come after the boys, since they never returned, and try to figure out what happened. And then we kind of see her interaction with Dante, and this again raises more questions. So I want to know if Izumi knows everything about Dante, because she has different intentions, I feel like. And I think there's a lot more going on with her than they've laid out.
Mm-hmm.
Because, first of all, she tells Izumi that if the boys continue down their path searching for the stone, it's just going to continue to lead to misfortune. And if she cared about him, then she'd just send him off somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
But something in that conversation, she just sounded like she's up to some shady shit. Like she is responsible for some of these homunculi. Now, I don't have proof, but that was the vibe I got. Mm-hmm. Especially with Greed, as in that glare was just like, fuck off. And he wasn't like, I'm afraid of, or not afraid of her. It was like, okay, well, she's telling me to go, I better go. Mm-hmm. So she has control over him in some way, or at least that's the way it kind of comes off. So I don't know if I'm on the right path here, but that was the general feeling I got. Mm-hmm. Like she knows a lot more about this and would probably be somewhat responsible for it as well. Because even Izumi questioned her motives and how they are going down two separate paths on how they approach alchemy. And something also tells me, and this is why I feel like she's also responsible for this, I feel like she planted that seed in Izumi to do what she did for her child. That is my gut feeling. She, I don't know, manipulated that situation somehow to make her do what she did against her better judgment, which she seems like the type that would have had good judgment not to do that. And I understand the trauma of losing a child would push you to do something like that. But if you have someone whispering in your ear, it'll be all right, you know, and they have sinister intentions. That's my feeling on that matter, but don't tell me if I'm right. She's done shady shit. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, so Al is locked up in the Devil's Den. I think that was the name of the place, wasn't it? The Devil's some another Nest. Excuse me. I was close. And what was interesting about this scene is that Al was conversing with the Chimeras, and they all didn't seem to be bad people or bad things. They were just, you know, he asked, he's like, well, how did you wind up here? And they explained that they were also locked up in the lab, and that greed helped him get out and kind of gave him a place to go. And I don't know, it was interesting to see that side of him, because they haven't really seemed bad.
No.
But, you know, they're still following this idiot doing his bidding, so kind of are with the company you keep, I guess. And that was the other thing, too, is when Al mentioned his sigil inside the armor.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just felt like that was something you don't want to say, but I understand that in the situation, hey, be careful, don't rub that shit, will you? You know?
Yeah, I think he realized that they're not bad people.
Yeah. So trusting them to a point, especially with something like that. Because, I mean, that's trusting them with your life.
Yeah.
I mean, especially the one inside your armor. Because all she's got to do is one false move and then you're screwed. So as he's kind of talking to them and they're kind of feeling everything out, Greed comes in, greets himself, and then Al actually took notice, which I was really surprised by. He knew immediately as soon as he saw Tucker who that was. And even asked what he was doing there. And they kind of mentioned he's kind of like an insurance policy just in case something goes wrong with the Chimeras or whatever. And so I guess that he's just a prick. I don't like him. I know we've talked about that in the past. Anyway, Al notices there's a name he keeps calling it. I keep hearing the word, and I always forget it before I can jot it down. But the marking on their hands that all the homunculi seem to have.
Oh,
Like
God! Now that Ouroboros.
Ouroboros. There we go. So he notices that, and kind of, it's like, so you're like one of them. And it was funny. He said, no, we're kind of mentions that they're on opposing sides in a way.
Yes.
So I thought,
which he explains it in his own way.
Yeah.
If you'd like a better or clarification explanation, I can give it to you.
I mean, are they going to clarify it later?
I mean, it's kind of one of those things where, like we talked about before, what do the other homunculi want? What is their end goal?
The stone.
Well, to become
human.
What is Greed's end goal?
To become immortal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to become flesh and blood who can die. He wants to live forever. So therefore, what the homunculi are doing is the polar opposite of what he wants to do.
Gotcha. But it does, I mean, so in that moment, there was Al took a pot shot with some alchemy, and then we see, same as we've seen before, where he takes a punch and it doesn't faze him. So, I mean, he's literally like a suit of armor in flesh in some way, or...
Think of him kind of like Colossus.
Yeah. So, in that regard, I'm going to assume he isn't necessarily immortal in a living, breathing sense. Like, he could eventually die. Like, grow old and die.
No. I will say that he is probably one of the easiest homunculi who can be taken down. You just have to know how to take him down. He has a big secret.
Well, my thought process on this, and I can see this playing out later on, is considering what he does to his body, I feel like you could manipulate that. And the one person that could come to mind is Scar could just, and then, since he knows how to manipulate or what do you call it? oh, damn.
He can deconstruct.
Yeah, deconstruct. So now, granted, I know that this isn't necessarily the same, but if it's like a metal or a compound of sorts that's not flesh itself, then I feel like he would be able to manipulate that. That's just my where I'm coming with it. Just seeing how it worked out. And he was even taunting Al later on. We'll get to that. Or Ed is what I meant to say. Anyway, but as he took that pot, so again, I'm his immortality, like he wants to be. See, I guess that's where I'm so confused. So he can die, can he not?
Yes.
So I guess he's looking for. So how would taking over what Al has, like trying to go into a suit of armor or looking for that kind of immortality, that's not going to, because the sigil. I mean,
because he doesn't know that there's like a catch-22 with the whole soul thing.
Gotcha.
He just thinks, okay, his soul's attached to this armor. Now he doesn't have to, eat, sleep, nothing. He can do whatever in the fuck he wants and nobody can stop him. But he doesn't realize that, like I said, there's kind of a catch-22, which, again, with him, he kind of has his own catch-22. So he's trying to find a way out of that.
Well, so he's pretty much in the same boat, and he doesn't realize he's trading one problem for another.
Pretty much.
Yeah, okay. So he's just an idiot. Because it didn't make any sense.
Greed.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't make any sense to me just from where I'm sitting, because it was like, well, what are you trading up? Because I feel like you're pretty well immortal as is. So what more do you need? I mean, it didn't make any sense to me, but again, greed knows no bounds.
Exactly.
So I guess that's a fair assessment for that.
He sees something he does not have, and he wants it.
So to prove a point, as we've said, he's taken a punch. And this is, again, reiterates what I was saying about his immortality. The big dude in the crew knocks his head clean off, and then he grows it back. So that, to me, I was like, so dude, you have immortality. It just, God, it's frustrating. But again, I understand the concept of greed.
Frustrating, but I feel like once you realize his weakness, you will understand why he wants what he's wanting.
Gotcha. So as all that happens, Izumi busts in, ready to stomp ass, like having no care. She's not afraid. Meanwhile, Ed is still searching around. He's found by Armstrong, and Ed kind of lashes out at him because he feels like no one is helping, or at least the military is not doing anything. And Armstrong kind of mentions that they are planning an assault. They know where they're at. So just letting him know this is about to go down. But Ed still kind of goes off on his own. And we go back and see Izumi immediately going on the offensive, trying to, do what she can. But again, she's not aware of the situation. Therefore, probably broke a few bones in her hand as she smashed his face with no impact. And so she changes tactics. She wraps him up in stone. And they were trying to figure out how this is all going to work, all the while he's running his mouth about everything and what he thinks he is and what he knows and blah, 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 blah. So Sig steps in, and when that happens, Izumi kind of has a moment where, like she's, you don't need to do that. And he's like, no, I'm going to do this. And that's that. And then she kind of lets it be known that she loves Al and Ed in her own way.
Yeah, they're like her children.
Right. Like she doesn't say it outright, but based on what she's saying, and then of course the vision or the little clips that they put on there, she's not willing to lose them any more than she was willing to lose her own children. So, I mean, to her, they are her kids.
Yes.
In essence.
States it point blank, I don't want to lose any more babies.
Yeah. And that, I was like, okay, so at that point, I don't think it was ever in question how much she cared for them, but that really kind of cemented it in stone that how much she cares for them.
And I don't think Sig ever questioned it. I think he knows exactly why she fought so hard and exactly why she's there, and that's why he stands beside her.
Mm-hmm.
He is a man of very few words, but he shows it with his actions, and he feels the same way. He doesn't want to lose them just as much as she doesn't want to lose them.
Right. So they both go on the offensive, trying to do what they can, but very quickly Izumi goes down because she gets into one of her sick fits.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of catches everything off guard and kind of puts Greed back on the table because he gets out of his little stone prison or whatever you'd call it. But luckily, Ed appears in just the right time. Meanwhile, the military is lining up their attack on the outside. And Ed sees Tucker off in the corner because this apparently everybody can just tell who the hell it is in this trench coat and hat. It's like,
because who the fuck is shaped like that?
Yeah.
Remember, he's a weird beast creature and his face is literally upside down.
Sure. So I mean, fair point. I mean, even though you can't really see his face, I guess if you saw an upside down nose, that's enough, and be like, all right, I know who that is.
I feel like his glasses give it away. His glasses are way the fuck down here where his mouth should be.
That's true. So Greed explains his big plans. Meanwhile, Ed just says, I don't really care, and just goes on the offensive. Izumi, she gets kind of back into the fight, but she has another fit, or I don't really want to call him fit, and I don't want to just say she's getting sick. It's just, I don't really know what to call it.
She has another episode.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. But as she goes down, Greed, being the greedy son of a bitch he is, wants a good old one-on-one fight with Ed. Like, he feels like that's what he wants in that moment. So Ed obliges. He doesn't give a damn. And we see the military's getting ready to burst in. And I was curious about this scene because I wasn't exactly sure how to take it at first, but I guess I should have put two and two together based on some scenes we saw prior. But as soon as they come in, who do we see but Kimberly waiting in the wings and has a smile on his face. So as Ed is given everything, he's got to try and take him down, Greed starts doing some word manipulation, being like, you don't have the guts to kill anybody, do you? You can't. So it's almost like he's trying to taunt him to kill him, or at least attempt to, which I don't really know how to take, whether or not he knows that Al or Ed could possibly kill him and know how to do it, or if he's just wanting to see if he thinks he can and just try to push him to his breaking point.
His thing is, think of him like Achilles.
Okay.
He is indestructible, but he has that one weakness. And if you don't know about that weakness, he's absolutely unstoppable. But if you know of his weakness, you can take him down. So to him taunting Edward is, he knows Edward has no fucking clue how to take him down. He knows Edward cannot fully kill him. But of course, if Edward found out, he would completely change his tune in a heartbeat.
Now, here's a question. Would this weakness, like without telling me what the weakness is, would this weakness be something you could stumble upon by accident?
Yep.
Okay. I was curious if that's something that could just happen. Like, you not know that you're going to attack the weak spot and you could attack the weak spot.
Well, it is not on him. His weakness is something completely that is not on his person.
Okay. All right. Well, just leave it at that then. So where are we? So, the monologuing bullshit, and he's trying to get into his head saying, we got the same goals, buddy. We're the same, and trying to get all up in his head. Then he decides he's going to show his true form and armors up completely, has a brand new face and all that, and looks a hell of a lot creepier.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a form he should stick with.
And he warned him. He said it does tend to get creepy.
So Greed continues to taunt Ed in that moment, but that's when the military comes in, and we see that Kimberly gave him up. So that's why he was waiting in the wings, smiling like a jerk.
Well, and Kimberly also got his hands on something.
What did he get his hands on? I guess I missed that.
Yeah, where it shows him standing in front of the safe, and then when you cut back when the military enters, the safe is busted open and he has something, And then when you cut to when he destroys the wall and Greed looks at him and says, "You betrayed me," Archer is standing behind him holding a sack.
Well, I saw Archer, yeah. So I guess I
Yes.
missed the little details in between because I remember all the scenes you're mentioning.
Yeah.
I just wasn't paying attention to those little moments. Okay.
Yes, you definitely got to pay attention to the little moments.
Well,
Because they have literally sprinkled breadcrumbs about Greed through the last 3 episodes.
damn it. I'm trying. Well, see, here's the problem. I can't focus on writing notes and watching the episode at the same time. This is why I'm missing stuff, because I'm having to take notes so I don't forget the episode. Otherwise, I'm just going to be going, what happened again? This just helps me focus. I know I just watched it, but I'm trying. So this is why I'm missing stuff. This is why we got to watch it again.
It's okay. Because you'll see all these little things that you missed when you can watch it, episode to episode without stopping or without being distracted. But yes, Kimberly took something and yeah.
So in that moment, the crew takes that opportunity to escape with Al. So they got him on the ropes again, and they're on the run. And the military turn on Ed and say that they are taking him in for questioning. And he's like, what the actual fuck is going on? So, and that was kind of my question too. Why do you not realize the other threats going on? And this is what you want to do. So I'm going to assume that there's better be a good reason for this and not just some bullshit. But then again, we also know that certain people have been gallivanting around in other people's skin, pretending to be people. So that could definitely be a part of it too. I don't know. That's why we got to get to the next episode, because the shows are just going piece to piece, and they keep leaving us with cliffhangers. And
yeah, it's definitely like a fast tracking.
Yeah,
a lot of stuff.
we're not getting a moment to breathe, and I'm not complaining, to be honest with you. It's keeps you engaged.
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't have any slowdown. So,
And it'll be a lot better, like I said, like the next time we're able to watch it without doing the podcast, it'll be a lot better to especially pick up on things and see how it just really flows together and the callbacks and everything else. Because like I said, they've already laid pretty good sized chunks on Greed and kind of, discuss certain things. And it's just like those, like, it's almost like afterthoughts.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen it before, and like me, who's seen it hundreds of times, you're not going to pick up on those little afterthoughts, because you really have to pay attention to, like, pretty much everything somebody says has some form of meaning to the storyline. They're foreshadowing or calling back on something that's already, happened to foreshadow something that's going to happen in the future. Like, it's all connected. Like I said, all connected.
But that's well-rounded storytelling. That's someone who thought of every little detail and probably had, to me, you can't just sit and write this without any kind of planning. Not something this intricate. Like, I feel like before he decided to put this down on paper and write it all out, he said, this is where it needs to go. This is what it, and I'm saying a he. I think a woman wrote this. I think I've misspoke. In fact, I'm almost positive a woman wrote this. Let me take a look, because I'm sitting here misspeaking, and it's like my brain's like, not he, she.
And
she.
with the whole idea of it is all connected, think of it in the sense of the Ouroboros. A dragon that eats its tail, one whole circle, all connected.
So, yeah, I have misspoke. I apologize. Hiromu Arakawa is a woman, a manga series writer for film, or created Fullmetal Alchemist, and she's done a lot of other stuff. So,
Girl
my
power.
apologies. My apologies. So she, Hiromu, did some very intricate storytelling and writing, and I feel like this had to be planned out.
And the best part is that this isn't even the original storyline. Not anymore. We're past the original storyline part of it. We're now in the part where other people had to come up with pushing it forward and getting to an ending.
Mm-hmm.
But even still, Brotherhood is still just as amazing storytelling, and you're going to have those instances because other characters have changed, like I said before, especially when it comes to the homunculi or the 7 deadly sins. They have changed, like they're different characters. So you're going to come across and be surprised by new characters just like you were in this one.
Okay. So I apologize. I feel terrible for misgendering someone. And I know did not mean wrong intent behind it.
No.
I think for some reason I'm confusing her with someone else, I guess, and my pronouns got swapped. So my apologies. Did not mean to offend. Women, power, go, all that jazz. I don't want to be canceled. I've been waiting for my day. I'm going to say something wrong because I'm a straight white male, and I'm going to say something wrong. I'm going to be canceled all over again. Have I been canceled before? I don't know.
Girls in charge of girls.
That's right. I'm just kidding. But yeah. So I don't have anything else to say. I want to watch the next episode. Like I'm saying, the reason we have not watched a lot of these is because I needed a break from the podcasting part of it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I want to watch. And you know how hard it is to sit there and look at it and want to watch it, but then realize I have to work on top of that.
Yeah.
And it's just like I'm torn. That's why I had to break it up in spurts. But people are covered. Trust me. You got episodes for weeks. Trust me.
Yes, so, we've definitely done quite a few episodes, obviously, because we're already up to 33.
Yeah, you're already, we're probably, at this point, maybe we're in September? I'm trying to do the math. I think that's about where we are. So, if I'm right, then just applaud me. If I'm not, then be like, boo, we're in October or whatever. So, anyway, we're rambling. So, hey, tell all your friends to listen to the show on their favorite podcasting platform, like Good Pods. And if you prefer YouTube, you can go over there, youtube.com/pencilpaperproductions, or just search podcasts on YouTube. Apparently, you can do that now. And if you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/pencilpaperproductions. If you want to just keep up with the show in one spot, pencilpaperproductions.com/inspired Weeaboo. And as always, links are down below.
All right, my little weebs. We will see you next time.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.